Before I proceed to give my convocation address, let me offer my prayers to the lotus feet of my Guru and my living God, His Holiness of Sri Kanchi Kamakoti Peetam, Sri Sankara Vijayendra Saraswati Swamiji. And without His blessings and guidance, I would not have even imagined of being on this podium of one of the great institutions of this country. Respected Chairman Mr. M.R. Jairam, respected Mr. M.R. Anandaram, respected Mr. B.S. Ramprasad, board members and trustees of this great institution, teachers and faculty members who always throw light to the students, and the proud parents and the family, and of course, the graduating students of 2021. Thank you for the privilege of and honor of having me before you. I am truly humbled by your gesture. I should congratulate Ramaiah Institute of Management for conducting so many programs despite the pandemic year. Thank you, sir. Thanks to all the teachers and the faculty members for not only conducting the programs, but managing an education institution despite the pressure and crisis that the pandemic has thrown. I really bow my head before you and the teachers for the way they have conducted yourself in the last 1 year. At the outset, I congratulate all the students for successfully completing your courses, MBA and other courses from this great institution. This is a great day for all of you as you reap the benefits of your hard work and your dream has become a reality. You are stepping out of a college and the university campus with a great hope and with dreams to achieve greater professional heights in your professional life. I pray to God to give you more success, to give you the courage to face the challenges, to give the patience to overcome the obstacles, and above all, to stand up for the values, integrity that your parents and this great institution stands for. And I also pray, given that you are now uniquely privileged after graduating from this distinguished university, that perhaps puts you in the top 5% of India's population, you consciously give back to the society and people less privileged than you, big or small, in whatever manner that you seem appropriate or avenues that you choose. Life as a student of M.S. Ramaiah Institute of Technology, M.S. Ramaiah Institute, the great institution of learning. In any life, the student life is the most important one. In my humble view, as a student, you have nothing to worry, only everything to gain. The life of a student is most enjoyable life, with nothing to lose and everything to gain in the form of knowledge, values from teachers, values from parents, friendships, and above all, the joy that you rightfully get, which you enjoy day in and day out. The learnings from the student life is invaluable, as this is the foundation on which all of us construct our edifice. The value system that you acquire during these days and the hard work that you do to achieve the results should be your benchmark for the success for the rest of your life. Let me spend a few minutes on the great founder of the institution, Mr. M.S. Ramaiah. The man who did not have a formal education due to his circumstances, but went on to establish a great educational institution. The value of empowerment, simplicity, inclusiveness, and commitment that has been imbibed by all the institutions founded by him. His willingness to work with focus and patience to achieve his goal of making medical and educational facilities accessible to the society was his hallmark. In his heart, the great man had always been a deeply religious man and was actively involved in renovating the ancient shrine and the ashram of Yogi Narayana Yatindra in Kaiwada. My dear students, you should be proud of graduating from this institution established by a noble man. Not only you are graduating from this institution with a degree, but more importantly, with the values and principles that the great man stood for. Remember every day the words of Mr. M.S. Ramaiah, the founder of your institution. What we have done for ourselves alone dies with us. What we have done for others and the world remains and is immortal. Having graduated from an institution like Mr. M.S. Ramaiah Institute, we have earned not only academic knowledge, but the knowledge of values, ethics, which you should practice lifelong. You are all students. You are coming from a student life to a different life. I just wanted to step back to my student life. Not that I'm not a student. I'm always a student ever since my life, till my last, because student life is always a learning and I always continue to learn. I always strive to learn something. Let me step back to my student life. When I graduated, I did not wear this robe, very honestly. And those days, from a college, we did not have the ceremonies. And we used to, on the last day, we just used to have some lunch or a breakfast with my fellow students and the lecturers, and then we'll give a parting life. We never had this ceremony of wearing robes. And the first time I attended the graduation ceremony was when my son graduated 2 years back in the Duke University, where me and my wife went all the way to US. And I was so proud as a parent that when my son's name was said on the podium, I was so proud as a father. And that's the way every father and every parent will be proud of you today for having graduated today. And second occasion, thanks to the institution, where I am before you as a chief guest and giving a convocation address. I came back from a very humble middle class family. I finished graduation in 1985. My father was a simple government servant. He retired in 1985. I pursued my chartered accountancy course. I passed out both intermediate and final by God's grace in the first attempts those days. I got my results on January 14, 1989. I passed CA final. On February 15, 1989, I was about to take my first employment. Unfortunately, February 14, 1989 morning, I lost my father. And my employment opportunity got deferred. Of course, I took the employment. That's a different story. But what stood out to me is that the person who encouraged me, stood with me, supported me, and was responsible for my success, I lost him and I needed him more. His passing was a traumatic shock for me. Everybody who is born in this world has to die at some point of time. That's a philosophy. But losing a person at a time when you needed him most was a traumatic shock for me. And even today, whenever I do any good things or achieve something in my life, I remember him as his words of advice are a mantra for my success in my professional and personal life. In my life, I remember his words always as his words and the teachings that what has made me what I am today. I become a permanent creditor for my father because he did everything for me, and when I wanted to do something for him, he left me. The setback of losing my father when I needed him most, made me more stronger, made me to work hard and to put best efforts in anything that I do in my journey. After a couple of months, I joined a leading corporate at Chennai and began my career in taxation. Though I had a good subject knowledge, I lacked communication skills, both written and oral. I never imagined in 1989 that I would be addressing the students' community, giving a convocation address, because my language skill of oral skills was pretty bad. I never imagined in my life that I would write books after books, write thesis after thesis, because my communication skill in writing was very bad. But what made me different was absolutely the follow of my father's advice. My father taught me only one principle, simple principle, and which I cherish even now. And I shall continue to cherish it. I am passing on to my sons too, and I am passing on to all of you because of all your younger generation, now that I become old. There is no substitute for hard work for success. Hard work with honesty and values will alone take you to success. I strove to overcome my challenge through this, and I remember him as I stand before you today. I joined Deloitte, an organization, a great organization, and I'm very happy that 20 of your students have joined Deloitte. Sir, be assured, all of them will become brightening stars in the future to come, because Deloitte is a great organization to work for. I am proud to be part of Deloitte, where values, ethics, and transparency are not confined to paper or a PowerPoint presentation. It is practiced on a day-to-day basis. The organization gave me a lot more opportunities to grow, and I'm truly indebted to Deloitte for the success in my professional life. As I said, hard work, honesty, commitment, and passion in what you do will take you to success. Never ever get worried. Success may be delayed, but it will never be denied. When you follow the hard work with passion, value, and integrity, success can never be denied. People keep asking me, I always say a simple example. The cloud cannot hide the moon or sun forever. It's only temporary. Chennai may be having a 3 days rain. The sun will not come for 3 days, but 5th day the sun has to come. So you are like a sun or a moon. The cloud can never hide you forever. Remember this. What is world outside for you? Now you have graduated. What is world outside for you? As you graduate and step into your professional career, people may say different things about this world. Cynics may paint a bleak picture. Optimists may paint a rosy picture and make you to believe that everything around this world is fantastic. It would pose a challenge to you as to what you should choose and which one you to believe, which one is correct. Yes, because when the student age, the tender age, you may get multiple ideas. Somebody says good, somebody says bad, you will be confused. In my view, the world outside is one for you to experience, learn, succeed, fail, contribute, and live to the fullest. This world belongs to you, and you are the painter of this world. If you wish, you can be a Raja Ravi Verma for your own painting. Destiny is in your hands. Good or bad is in your hands. Optimism and pessimism is in your hands. The entire life is in your hands. A coin has got two sides. Similarly, life has got two sides. I am not a medical expert. There are some of the medical experts here, but I am talking with a limited, very, very limited knowledge of medical, because I just keep going to doctor for medical checkup. Out of that I am talking. Life will always be like an ECG report. You would have seen the ECG report will have ups and downs, sometimes more downs, few ups. If we expect a life to be a straight line, imagine what would be the impact if the ECG report has got a straight line. Life will never be a straight line. And whenever you are up, whenever you are achieving success, be calm, stay grounded stay grounded. Success teaches you few things. Failure teaches you many things. And during success, think what has contributed to you for the success, why you have become success. Think about it. And never allow success to go into your head. The moment success goes into your head, I am not saying you will become arrogant. You are tending towards arrogance. And moment you are tending towards arrogance, you will lose sight of the facts. Moment you lose sight of the facts, you cannot take right decisions in life. And that's the reason I always say, people say, elders say, don't allow success to go to your head. When you are successful, be grounded. What will happen when you become failures? As I said, when something happens, it's not your level of success. Be calm, stay calm. When chips are down, never blame the others. Never shift the position to others. Never say success is due to me, failure is due to others. Success or failure, everything is due to one thing called team spirit, teamwork. When chips are down, when you face a failure, never stay calm and never throw the blame on others. Have a confidence on your abilities and yourself. Just remember one saying which my father taught me in 1988 when I had to go through some health issues before my CA exam. He said only 2 lines to me, which I still remember, and I always follow that. God brings the man in deep waters, not to drown him, but to cleanse him. Have that mindset, work hard, believe in yourself, life is yours. I said about the world, the philosophy of the world. Let me come back to the country, India, a country of opportunities in my view. You are born in this country, which is a Karma Bhumi, and is a land of great saints, philosophers, and a land which worships Mother Nature. I was immensely happy when the director administered a oath before at the beginning of the session about the various things. Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara, Matrudeva Bhava, Pitrudeva Bhava, Acharya Deva Bhava, Atiti Devo Bhava. Great things. She talked about the Gurukul. Our entire education system was based upon the Gurukul. And our entire culture was basing for the worshipping the Mother Nature. Our culture teaches us to worship nature in every form. Land, whether it is land, air, rain, water, fire, sand, trees, everything, every aspect of a nature we worship. Mother Earth. Environment is not a science in our culture. Environment, protecting the environment and living with the environment is a way of life in our culture. This land gives opportunity which no other country can provide you in the days to come. On the economy side, India is the fastest growing economy and has all the fundamentals to grow to a $5 trillion economy by 2024, which is a dream of our Honorable Prime Minister. I'll give few statistics for you, which will help you to understand how is the Indian economy and what you need to do and how you will be helping it for the economy to grow. Indian economy is the 7th largest economy after USA, China, European Union, Japan, France, and UK. And as I said, has a potential to be among the top 5 economies by 2024. I'm sure India will emerge in the top 3 to 5 economies by 2024. The amount of reforms that we are doing it. Even the last year Atmanirbhar report, Atmanirbhar reform, I'm sure India will be there by 2024 in the top 3 or 5 economies. India has emerged the fastest growing major economy in the world and is expected to be one of the top 3 economic powers in the world over the next 10 to 15 years, backed by its robust democracy and strong partnerships. The unicorns. India is the 4th largest unicorn base in the world with over 21 unicorns collectively valued at $73.2 billion as per the global unicorn list. By 2025, India is expected to have 100 unicorns by 2025, which will create almost 1.1 million direct jobs according to the NASSCOM report. 1.1 million direct jobs. Normally the indirect job is 3 times of the direct job. Imagine 3 times of 3.3 million indirect jobs through their unicorns by 2025. Our investment in infrastructure is 1.40 trillion US dollar, which is higher, imagine, trust me, higher compared to US investment in infrastructure, which is only 1 trillion US dollars. Further, our investment in the infrastructure of 1.4 million US dollars, 1.4 trillion US dollars, is expected to complete in 3 to 4 years, whereas US 1 trillion US dollars, the time period is 8 years. The private equity venture capital investor record in the investments growth was around 10.7 billion US dollars across 137 deals in August 2021, registering a 5x growth. And you would have come across in the papers, the government has introduced various profit-linked incentives. For mobile manufacturing and electronics, the amount disbursed was 35,400 crore. Textile sector and man-made fiber and garments, 10,600 crore. Advanced chemical cell batteries, 18,000 crore. White goods and LED lights, 6,200 crore. Pharma sector, both drugs and equipment, 6,200 crore. And many more PLIs are awaited. As I said, India is a land of opportunities in technology, startups, e-commerce, and healthcare. And you would have read in the press, our COVID vaccination is 100 crore in the last few years, in the last 1 year. Nobody predicted that India would do 100 crore vaccination, out of which today morning I read the health minister's statement, 38% of Indian population is double vaccination and 72% is single vaccination. Nobody thought that India as a country will do 100 crore vaccination. We should be proud of what we are and where we are going. And you are graduating at this unique time when a country is a cusp of exponential growth with a plenty of opportunities across many diverse areas. The world outside is infinite, and it is up to you to grab and seize the opportunity for a successful journey in a professional life. I talked about myself, I talked about the world, I talked about the India. Now you are all our management graduates. During the studying, when you're doing a management graduation, you are graduating from this university, having learned a lot on management skills. And when you graduate and then when you go into the life, you need to put what you have learned to the practice. And the acid test is the application of what you have learned to the practice and achieving results. Let me give you a few concepts which I learned it from my guru, the living God, which I explained at the beginning, which I'm trying to put in practice. When you talk about a management, what you learned out of Peter Drucker or Henry Cole is different, and what you practice is going to be different. There's a little bit of a difference between the theory and practice, and there is always something you need a bridge to connect the theory and practice, and that is what I'm just going to put the few fundamental concepts to you. And these concepts are very, very important when you want to lead a success, when you want to become a successful in your professional life. Few concepts. First, preserve your identity and respect others' identity. Develop yourself like others or better than others instead of shifting to others. Duty, devotion, knowledge, and wisdom, if all combined, creates a good society which is the backbone of our growth. Development does not mean destruction of old or existing structure and creating a new structure in its place. Development means preserving the old structure and preserving the existing structure and creating a new structure. Dvesham, hatred, jealous, and laziness are the three ills plaguing the development. Love, competitive spirit, and hard work are the only tools of development. Finally, the inclusive growth as per dharmic practice in this country is the growth of education, please mark, is the growth of education, business, management, and above all, service. If it all grows, it leads to inclusive growth, which leads to improvement of society. And very often, people talk about me, great literature on management, great literature written by the successful CEOs on the management. While I respect every CEO, every professional who has written a book, for me there's only one book on management, Mahabharata. It's not about a religion, it's not about anything. Mahabharata as a story gives you the great lessons of the management. And whenever I need something, whenever I'm stuck on something, I go back to Mahabharata, I find some story which gives me some philosophy and principle which helps me to overcome the challenge. I'm giving you only one-liners on 3 characters, not much characters. I can keep talking about Mahabharata and it's relevant to the management, which I don't want to take your time, but I'm going to give only few liners, one-liners on 3 important characters. Lord Krishna. Everybody considers Lord Krishna as a god. Leave the god aspect and the devotion aspect aside for a minute. The person who demonstrated that leadership is not title. To be successful as a leader, one does not need a title. Who demonstrated that leadership is not authority. Leadership is a responsibility. Demonstrated that strategy and execution of the strategy is key for success. Just go back to the war. What is the Lord Krishna's role? He was a charioteer for Arjun. He is not a leader for this side or he's not a leader for the other side, but he is the man who ran everything and everybody looked at him. That's the reason I said leadership is not a title. It is not an authority. It is a responsibility. Arjun, choose a right leader for your success and follow the leader instructions to the core for the success. You may be disagreeing with a leader. When you grow up, when you come for a discussion with your leader, you may disagree with your leader, you argue with your leader. But once some decision has come into the room, outside the room, you need to follow the instructions, you need to follow what the leader has told you. That's what Arjun said, Arjun did. He disagreed with Lord Krishna when he wanted to wage a war. Lord Krishna preached him the Bhagavad Gita. And Arjun, yes, I follow you, I agree, and I will do whatever you say. And that is a confidence that you should have on your leader when you start your career in life. Never ever disobey the leader outside. You disagree within the 4 rooms. The moment you come out, you need to follow the leader's instruction. And that is important for an organization. No organization can afford to have 2 leaders outside, then the organization will fail. And never ever do anything that defeats the leader's vision. Sahadev. Humility at its best. Despite being a great learned man, prove to the world that being humble will lead you to success. That means will lead organization to success. You may be knowing better than your leader at some point of time in your organization when you grow up. You may be knowing better than your PS at some point of time. But what you need to have is humility in learning, so that your humility will bring the humility to the team, and that humility to the team will make organization a more success. Karna. Despite having a multiple strengths and skill sets, he failed to achieve his goal only because of being in a wrong company and wrong friends. He proved with a perfect foil, you are known by the company you keep. And very, very important for you when you grow up. When you grow up in your life, there will be multiple temptations for you. Multiple temptations will come through multiple sources. Resist the temptation. Look at your goals. Look at the vision. Look behind the values, what your parents and what the institution taught for you. You will always be in a good company, because the good company is one that takes you to the greater heights. And why I am bringing Mahabharata? The concept of Indian management and the Indian culture and the Indian traditions is more important and is a need of an hour. And it is very much relevant to the Indian business cycles, as in my view, 85% of the Indian business are family-run business and family-managed businesses. Though there's a of late, I've seen a significant improvement by segregating the shareholder ownership and the management and the corporate ownership and the shareholder ownership. 85% of our Indian business runs on Indian family principles. I'll just give only one statistic before I go there. Have you come across anybody going to Germany and Japan for pursuing MBA? People go to US and UK. Has anybody gone to Germany and Japan? But they are the most successful advanced economies in this world. Why? They follow the family management principles, which that country has got a rich culture and tradition, and that's the reason Germany and Japan are one of the top management institutes. And it is time for all the management gurus, students, and organizations to refocus on the Indian management principles and Indian management traditions, and the skills and practices which is based on the words in my guru, the inclusive growth, that is the growth of education, business, management, and service. If all these things grows, it leads to inclusive growth, which leads to improvement of the society. And after graduating, after achieving certain success, what is your aspiration? You aspire to be a leader, right? You aspire to be a leader. Everyone should aspire to be a leader. What is a leader? A leader does not mean a CEO or a director of an organization or a company, but leader in your own thoughts, by which you can influence people around you for a positive growth and development of the society. A successful leader, in my view, is one who demonstrates his abilities to influence and inspire people around him. In the words of my guru, develop desire for good thoughts, good actions, and good deeds. My 5 principles to be a successful leader: continue to learn, make learning a part of your life, and never be content with what you have learned. Have a perennial thirst for knowledge, determination, and will to succeed. Win by arguments with your team and people instead of choosing yes men around you. Never ever choose yes men around you. Win people with your arguments. Walk the talk. Last, have a right model. Have a right role model. Nobody, in my view, is a born leader, but everybody is born with the opportunity to become a leader. We need to have a right attitude, develop ourselves with the right skills to be a successful leader in any area that we choose. And always success comes with an added responsibility in a country like India, where we need to contribute to the society and you need to contribute to the country for its growth. It's not only your growth is important, we also need to think about our country's growth. You developed a role model, and how do you learn from the role model? Art of learning from the role model. Identifying a role model is an important step. As I said, for me, my role model is my father. As he practiced the art of simplicity, constant learning, be it in politics, music, language, or literature, and passionately driven by the values. I just want to place a small story of Sri Aurobindo. I don't know, some of you might have read in the books. Aurobindo, after the political struggle, he came down to Pondicherry. He became a spiritual leader. He was looking for somebody from whom he get inspiration. He met many people, but he did not get inspiration. And one day he was sitting under the tree, and there is a Tamil called Kullachami. Kullachami means in literally it's a short man. Short man came before Aurobindo, and Aurobindo was having a cup of tea. Of course, in the first instance, the tumbler did not have it, it was only an empty tumbler. The Kullachami came and he took the tumbler and he turned upside down and he put it and left. Aurobindo said, he is the man from whom I learned. And people around him laughed at him. What are you talking? You are a great spiritual person, but you learned something from a man who like a nomadic Kullachami, who was not even shaven, who doesn't look even good. You see, you learn from him by where he put his tumbler on the upside down. You say you learn from him. Aurobindo said, yes. What is that? He said, first, whatever you have, things you need to come out, then only the new things will come inside. If you have everything in you, you cannot get a new things from outside. But people did not believe. And one day Kulachami once again went into a place where Aurobindo was sitting in his room. He rushed to his first floor. There, Aurobindo was having a cup of tea. He went inside, he poured the tea outside, and then he kept the tumbler back again in the reverse direction. And he did it twice or thrice. And people asked Aurobindo, what is this? He said, it reminds me, and he tells me that I am yet to get whatever is there in my mind out. Unless I get it my mind out, the new things will not come. A very simple philosophy. And Aurobindo said, this is what I learned. Now look at a simple concept here. Forget about going down the tumbler and tea, and that's not the important aspect. Aurobindo decided to learn from a man who nobody considered as a spiritual leader. It is not important from whom you learned. It is not important what you have learned, who has taught you. It is very important that what you have learned. You can learn many things. I learned many things from my son who was younger to me. Age does not matter. Status does not matter. Qualification does not matter. What matters is what you learned. That's more important. And as I said, practice the art of learning. And when you do the practice the art of learning, success is at your doorsteps. In my humble view, everybody has a right to be successful in their chosen area. But success cannot come overnight. It is a result of hard work, perseverance, passion in what you do, and determination that makes you successful. While trying to achieve success, you may face failures, but don't get defeated by failures. Failure teaches you more than success. Failure teaches you more in life, and learnings from the failure becomes a stepping stone for your success. And how to measure a success? In my view, this is not measured by a material pleasures like owning a costly car, or owning a posh house, or owning a costly gadget. This is not a success in my view. The parameters of the success is not measured by the materialistic pleasures owned by a person. In my view, the barometer of success is a combination of the following. The ability to have a right thoughts and practicing those thoughts on a sustained basis for the development of you, people around you, and the society around you, and the ability to have a positive influence on people around you and make people follow you in your chosen area. That is what in my definition called success. The moment you step out of this institution, after your graduation, again I lay the emphasis on learning. In Tamil there is a proverb, Kattradu ulagalavu kattradu kayyalavu kalladadu ulagalavu. That means what you have learnt is only handful. What you have not learnt is the world at large. Continue the practice of learning and always be with the God of learning. Don't go to God of yearning immediately. Be with the God of learning always. If you are with the God of learning, God of yearning follows you. And if you compromise on the God of learning, God of yearning will step out away from you. Never ever get greed and never ever get succumb to the God of yearning. Yearning follows the learning. If learning compromise, yearning stops. Imagine, please follow this in your life till last. People have been successful in their corporate careers because of their greed. They went through tough times in their professional life. Never ever be greed for the money. Money follows you. Money, wherever you are, money follows you. As I said at the beginning, the cloud cannot hide the sun and the moon forever. Remember these lines. I follow only 3 principles taught by my father. When wealth is lost, nothing is lost. When health is lost, something is lost. When character is lost, everything is lost. That's what my father taught me. I'm following it up. Finally, my 5 prescriptions for the success. Learn, learn, and continue to learn. Never stop learning. Take right choices. MBA is a right choice. After the MBA, you have to take a right choices in your life. Imagine out of 250 students who are graduating, one of you would become a CEO of a Fortune 500 company in the 10 years. One of you would become a CEO of another global organization. Why one of them become a CEO and others are not there? Everybody, God has given intelligence to everybody the same level. It is a choice that you make and make the right choices in your life so that you achieve the success. MBA is like a passport. I always say that any academic degree is like a passport. You are entitled to get visa. What visa you get, where you want to go, that's a choice that you make and make the right choices. And make sure that ethics and integrity should be part of your DNA and never ever compromise on that. And this advice, not only for the younger professionals, even for professionals like us, aim to give an autograph for a person, never get into a situation of giving a thumb impression. Follow your passion with hard work, sincerity, and commitment. And I assure you, sky is not the limit for growth. Besides, I can tell you only from my personal experience, which I always relish, there's a more happiness in giving than receiving. Give more, you will receive more. If you don't give, you will not receive. You need to practice the art of giving, then only you will get the habit of receiving from others. Practice the art of giving. Conclusion. In Indian tradition, as you started practicing the oath, Matru Deva Bhava, Pitru Deva Bhava, Acharya Deva Bhava, Atiti Deva Bhava. There are various interpretations on that, but my interpretation is very simple. When a child is born into this world, the first phase the child looks at his mother. The mother shows the father. The mother and the father shows the guru, and the guru shows the world outside. That is an Atiti. That is my interpretation. And your mother and father shown the great institution like MS Ramaya Institute. You are graduating out of this. Be proud what you have achieved so far and bring more pride to yourself, your parents, and your institution. I wish you all the very best in your life, and I'm always available to support you and help you in any manner that I can do. Thank you so much.